Hi everyone, here's part 2 of my little colouring challenge. So I've got the wheel set up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, click back onto my previous video and you'll see the first video where I explained what we're doing. Basically, in a nutshell, I've got a couple of random generators set up with firstly pencil brands and then colours as well, and we're going to use these random generators to choose our colours and our brand and colour one of these little emblems from Worlds of Wonder. Okay, so I've taken out the Koh-i-Noors from the list because we used those yesterday on the first one, and now we're just going to have to choose another brand. So here we go, give the wheel a spin, and the pencils that we are using today are, looks like the Van Gogh. Yep, it's the Van Gogh. So just like the Koh-i-Noors yesterday, these pencils are not ones that I have an awful lot of experience with. I've not even reviewed them yet. I've not got round to doing that. So it'll be interesting to see what they're like. Then we're going to choose 3 colours from this wheel, which we will be able to use on one of these emblems. So I'm just going to spin this 3 times and I'm going to make a list like I did yesterday, otherwise I will forget. So we have blue violet, need a new pen, blue violet, and then navy again. We had navy yesterday. So blue, violet and navy are quite close to each other, so we might have some good blending opportunities there. And then we have aqua / turquoise. So we're really on the blue side of the scale today, whereas yesterday we had a completely contrasting colour scheme. So I'm going to grab the Van Gogh pencils and we'll pick out the colours that we're going to use. Okay, so here they are. I've got the set of 60, which I believe is the largest set that these come in. And what does it say about these? It says that they're guaranteed light fast, so these are actually really high quality artist grade pencils. We've got the 60 colours here on the swatch sheet, so that will make it easier for us to find the colours that we need. I think these come in 2 layers. They're really nice actually, velvety little things. I'll save that for the review. Okay, so we're looking for blue violets. So let's see. It doesn't seem like we've got an awful lot of blue violet scope here, but I'm looking at 507 and thinking that might be quite close to what we're looking for. That's this one here. It's actually called Ultramarine Violet, but I think looking at the other colours, it might be the closest that we get. So let's have a look. Yeah. So that is quite a dark blue violet colour. That'll be perfect for this. We then need a navy, and I think the darkest blue I can see, I would have said this one, but it looks more green. I think the darkest blue is probably 583, which should be next to the colour that we've just chosen. And it's actually called Phthalo Blue Red. So let's have a look. So it's a bit lighter than I'd like the navy to be, but I don't think we've got an awful lot of choice, so we'll go with that one. We'll just try and get as close as we can. And then we've got aqua / turquoise. So just looking at these, we've got a kind of deep turquoise colour here in the 526, and then we've got a lighter turquoise, but it looks a little bit too blue, and 658 looks much more green. So really I've got to choose between this greenish aqua and this turquoise. I think we'll go for this greenish aqua colour so that we've got a bit more difference between the colours. So that's number 658, which I think is on the second layer. These look and feel like really beautiful pencils as well. Can't wait to get round to reviewing them. Okay, so I've put the pencils away and I've sharpened these 3. So let's see which one I decide to colour today. So the palette that we're looking at is very bluesy. It's quite similar, apart from the orange, to yesterday's palette. Lots of blue tones. So I need something that's going to go quite well with these. So just looking at them, I'm thinking it might be nice to do this fish scene, but then again we've got no colour to contrast on that, so it's quite difficult to make the fish stand out. Let's have a look at something that doesn't really need to have a certain colour on it. I mean, me being a control freak, I want trees to be green, etc, etc, but let's see if I can find something that isn't going to need that rule placing on it, basically. So what about one of these little flower emblems? Let's go with that. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to be able to get a bit of a blend, especially out of the navy colour and the turquoise. So let's put those to one side for now and use this blue violet, which is actually Ultramarine Violet number 507, and see what happens. So let's stick with this one and let's do a nice big dark gradient on the centre of this flower. So just going heavy on the outside and getting lighter as we go in. These pencils feel lovely on this paper. I'm not entirely sure if they're oil or wax. They do feel a little bit more dry than a wax, so maybe they are an oil based. I'll have to look into it. But I already like how they blend better than the Koh-i-Noors, I think, yesterday. They seem to lay down more smoothly and not leaving tacky little bits of pigment in certain areas. So how about we do the leaves in this dark colour as well, because then we can use the other blues to do the petals on the flower. So I'm going to colour the inner edge and the outer edge on this side the darkest, and then just work from right to left. Just getting lighter as we go. Just realised as well that I haven't zoomed in like I did yesterday, so let me zoom in and move across and you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. There we go. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. Really, it just creates a little bit of interest rather than colouring it solidly, because we are limited with the colours that we're using, so there isn't too many fancy schmancy techniques and things that I can do with one pencil. So just deepening those darker areas to maximise the contrast between the darkest area and then the almost white of the paper. See if I can make that a little bit darker as well for the same effect. And then we'll do these leaves at the bottom the same. So I've chosen to do these videos in real time because obviously they're only small little things to colour anyway, so speeding them up doesn't really serve any kind of purpose. So hopefully you'll enjoy just putting these videos on in the background. A lot of the time when I watch other channels, I'm doing something else at the same time, whether that's colouring myself or not colouring myself, colouring, yeah, you know what I mean. Whether I'm doing some colouring or diamond painting, or whether I'm putting my makeup on to go out, I'll always put a video on. The channel that I'm watching most recently and the most videos from is Sarah Renee Clark's channel. So most of you will have already heard of her name because she's been drawing colouring pages and doing things like the colour catalogue for years, and she's quite a prominent name within the colouring community, but her videos are just incredible. She's only just started the YouTube channel very, very recently, I think maybe just this year or at the very end of last year, but it's going from strength to strength, and this is not a promotion by any means. I just find that her production quality of her videos is just amazing. I don't know, I think her and her husband work on them together, and they've probably got all this fancy equipment, cameras and things like that, and just the editing skills, and everything looks so pristine and clean and just perfect, really. So it's really fun and satisfying to watch those videos. And also, of course, she's very, very talented, which helps. So you're getting the best of everything there, really. So I've been watching a lot of her videos recently. She's not only a talented artist to draw things, but she can also colour really well as well. And she can do hyper realistic stuff just like that, even though she hasn't been doing it for years. I know I'm going on a little bit, but if you want to go and find her channel, just type Sarah Renee Clark. I don't think you'll regret it. Her videos are really fun to watch, and as I say, very, very well produced. Okay, so I've just got one more leaf on this one to do now. So just remembering which way I'm doing the shading. So from the centre outward, and then from the edge again toward the middle. Probably could have done that one the other way around so that we don't have dark on dark, but hey ho. Okay, so I think that's just about right for our petals, just making sure that I'm darkening up those deepest colours for maximum contrast. And then we're going to come in with the other colours. So we've got our navy, or you know, it's not really a navy, it's called Phthalo Blue Red, and then we've got this one, the Severus Snape Severus Green Light. No idea what that means, but these are made by Royal Talons, by the way. They do other pencils as well. What other pencils do they do? I can't remember. This will all be in the review. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of a gradient, hopefully, with these. Now, we don't have an awful lot of space to work with, so I am keeping the pencils sharp. And yes, they do feel quite strong. Haven't had any breakages or anything so far. So good quality. And not a pencil that I hear a lot about, you know, around the colouring groups and things. So I am intrigued. So what I've done is I've just gone right around the edge with this darker blue, which really isn't a navy, but that's what we've got to work with. And then I'm going to try a little bit of this Severus Snape pencil and just see if we can get a nice little blend out of that. Even though we're working in a very, very limited space, hopefully we'll still get a bit of interest with the gradient here. And I'm going to do the same on the larger petals as well, which will hopefully serve to make the eye see it more. Now that pencil has literally just exploded everywhere. Never had an exploding pencil before. There was loads that came off of that then. So me talking about them being strong, maybe I just need to be a little bit more careful with them, because that just splintered right down. Okay, so I'm going to come back in with the navy and just deepen the central ring up a little bit, because I think the turquoise has muted it slightly. Sometimes it's a job of going backwards and forwards until you've got the blend kind of satisfactory for you, but again, it's such a small area, I shouldn't worry too much. So yep, doing exactly the same thing on these petals, these larger petals. I might have to do these one by one, I think, rather than just going around in a circle. So yeah, I haven't heard too much about these pencils, but if they are ones that you use, just like yesterday with the Koh-i-Noor, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. A lot of YouTubers, you know, not just in the colouring community, a lot of YouTubers in general say things like, leave me a comment, you know, I'd love to hear from you and stuff, but I genuinely read every single comment and I'm really interested to know everyone's opinions, you know, it's a genuine interest. And I don't see people who watch this channel as fans or anything like that. I just see you as viewers and my counterparts in this community. So your opinions and things really do matter, and I find them very, very interesting. And oftentimes my opinion is changed by things that I read from you guys. So you'll bring up points that I haven't thought about and things quite often. So it really does help reading your comments. And as well, you know, as I said in the mental health video, just having that sense of community and almost like I've got an extended family of friends that are there to chat to, and I don't feel like I'm just doing this talking to myself. You know, I'm actually, well, hopefully benefiting others in some way, and you kind of get the same feeling, that feeling of family and friends. So that's my little chick flick moment over, as Dean Winchester would say. And I'm just adding a little bit of this turquoise now. So, you know, it's not going to be any kind of perfect blend in this tiny weeny little area that we have to work with, but it's pretty cool. I could, I guess, add a little bit of this turquoise into the centre of this flower, maybe. Will that work? I don't know. Let's give it a go. I don't want to completely erase the central bit, but let's just add a little layer over it. I don't think it's made too much difference, to be honest with you, but we gave it a go. All right, so next up, I'm going to see what we can do with the other two flowers on this. Just adding a little bit more of this blue to the innards of the petals. There we are. And then on the other flowers, we've got quite a lot of the dark colour on here, so I want to use a bit more of the turquoise and the navy. Maybe I'll use them as separate entities this time. So let's try having this as the central colour on this flower, so this turquoise. And then we'll do some, I think we'll do some of the darkest colour as these petals, and then the navy blue can be the leaves on this one. That's the really good thing about choosing three colours, is you'll have another colour to play with next door to another one. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. If you only use two, you might find them butting together quite a lot, but having that third one is really helpful so that you're not overlapping the colours. So what I really like about this challenge is that I wouldn't have chosen these colours particularly myself to go together, even though they are fairly analogous, which is a very fancy and an unnecessary word for colours that go together on the colour wheel. Even though they're very analogous, I may not have chosen them for this specific illustration, or just to go together, you know, for anything else. So it's quite nice to not have to choose. Touched on that a little bit in the first video. And I'd love to know if this is something you guys are going to try as well, or have tried in the past. I do have an Instagram and a Facebook, and also a Facebook community group. So if ever you want to show me anything you've done, if you've used any of my techniques that I've shown on the channel, or you just want to show me a nice piece of art that you've done, you can always tag me or upload it to the community group, and I'll see it on there. So yeah, if you've done like these challenges before, it'd be really interesting to see how they've turned out, because I think it'll be unique for everybody, no matter what you do. Even if you're using the same colours, it'll be unique. Alright, so that is the petals done, and then I'm going to get that navy and do the leaves. So this time, instead of kind of parting the leaves down the centre, I might just do a blend right from... No, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do darker in the corner and darker at the tip, and then meet in the middle where the light kind of gradient is, and see what that looks like. It should give the look of a curved leaf, hopefully. So we don't have a lot of room, as I say, to work with. I'll give it my best shot. So I'm doing the tip and the very inner part of the leaf in the darkest shade, and then we're coming up to the centre and leaving that fairly white. So it's very quick. It's just a case of trying to figure out little touches that you can change that will make a bit of interest to the eye, that's not just solid colouring or the exact same blending all the time. So apart from the Severus Snape pencil exploding on me earlier, I haven't had any problems with a breakage or, you know, anything feeling loose or crumbly with these pencils, so that's good. They do feel quite strong. They've got a really thick barrel size, so that's comforting. So yeah, I'm interested to use these more and obviously get a review done for you guys. Now I know that these were quite hard to source at the time. I think they may have had to have been shipped over from Holland, so if I can find out where you all can order them from, I'll leave that link in the description below. If I can't, I may have to leave it to your detective skills, but I'll have a good look. So hopefully you can see, I don't know how well the camera shows up, but hopefully you can see that we've made a little bit of a shiny curved look to each leaf. And it's just something a little bit different, isn't it? Okay, so yep, happy with that. So for this one, I'm going to have to switch around and I think have the navy as the central colour. So is there anything different I can do with this one? I suppose I could shade it from left to right. I do think round things generally look better if you make them lighter on the inside though. I probably could have started dark and gone light, but I've done it now, I've committed. Okay, there we go. So each flower has got a different centre colour. Now for the petals, I don't think we've used the turquoise on petals, so I'll do that, I think, do that alone. And I think again, really, all I can do is just colour them with heavy pressure in the middle of the flower and then just a bit of lighter pressure. It's such a light colour anyway, it's quite difficult to see that there is any gradation. But at least each colour has kind of had its place to shine on this, which I think is good because we've got 3 different elements and then we've got 3 different pencils, so it's quite easy for that. I think we made a good choice. And then we have we've got the leaves to do now, but I've already done the leaves in the darker colour and I've done the leaves in navy, so really I should have done the leaves in the turquoise if we were going to be smarty pants about it. Yeah, well, I can't do anything about that now, so I'm just going to have to decide. And I think that because we've got such an awful lot of this purpley colour in the centre, we should just go back to the navy and then it will kind of balance out a little bit. We've got navy either side, so let's just do a simple blend from bottom to top, and then we've got 3 different kind of leaf blend patterns going on. Okay, there we go. So I think I'll just colour these little lines in that join the flowers together. And I reckon that's done and dusted. Now I can see it being quite a nice idea to use the turquoise to go around these flowers in a little glow. Still deliberating on whether I want to do that. Yeah, why not? All right, so I'm just going to colour around the edges of the emblem really, really roughly, first of all, and then try and smooth it out a little bit afterwards. This might be a good idea to bring in some blending solution or a blender pen, just to aid that a little bit, but I might just do it with the pencil. So I'm doing this quite hard so that we've got a good lay down of colour, and then hopefully it'll be easier to see it blending out toward the white of the paper when we do that part. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a little sharpen before we continue, so mind your ears. Right, so now we've got a really sharp pencil, and that'll be easier for us to create a lighter layer of colour around the edge. So again, just in the last video I was using this kind of handle on the pencil where I'll come back towards the end, and that just means that we're not going to put as much pigment down. So just going right around the edges with a very, very light hand and kind of working the harder edges that we just did out into a softer blend. Much easier to do with lighter colours. I think it would have been a little more trickier to do with probably the darker purple, because you really do have to get it right. You know, you have to make it not look patchy and, you know, work a little bit harder. With a light colour you can wing it a little bit. Just put a little bit on the inside there. Just trying to get the little bits off without rubbing it. Okay, and then you can go back in and just make those central areas a little bit darker if they're not looking like they are. And you can fart about with it all day if you're like me. You just can't leave things alone, but I think that looks pretty nice. I'm going to leave that there just as soon as I've done these little central bits. So yeah, again, there's going to be one of these videos released every day until we've filled up the page, and we're going to be using different pencils and different colours to do that with. So hope to see you back here on tomorrow's video. If you're watching far into the future, there will be a playlist of all 16 images that you'll be able to watch one after the other if you so wish. So there we go, pencils down. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.